If your hair is getting longer, but your ends keep getting thinner, this video is for you. I grew my hair from shaved to healthy mid-back length by following Indigenous Strands' simple routine. But when I tried to push to waist length, I changed what was already working, and that's when my hair started thinning. What surprised me the most was how subtle the mistake was, because I didn't even realize I was doing it. But the real issue wasn't really what I started doing, it was more so what I slowly stopped doing. So Indigenous Strands has followed this routine and has grown her hair down to her calves. I don't know if there was anyone on YouTube or on Instagram, on the social media platforms right now with hair as long as hers. Also, Simply Julia Lauren, she followed the same routine as well, Indigenous Strands routine, and she grew her hair down to her tailbone. Also, Toriana, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Toriona, she followed the same routine too, that same Indigenous Strands routine, and she also grew her hair long. And I followed this routine, and that's what got me from shaved to very, very healthy mid-back length. So when multiple people get similar results from the same simple system, obviously you have to pay attention, right? And then if it worked for all of us previously, why did my hair start thinning? I remember Simply Julia Lauren talking about the fact that she wasn't really sure what to start putting on her YouTube channel because she felt that her routine was extremely boring and nobody would want to watch. And I remember encouraging her that it's okay, we still want to watch. But the thing is, instead of sticking to the boring basics, I slowly started doing my own thing. And it wasn't actually one big mistake that I made. It was several small changes that seemed harmless at the time, but they were actually causing a lot of damage to my hair. And why am I sharing this? I want to share this with you because I am on a journey of growing my hair from shaved, aiming to get to tailbone length, and my goal was to do that in 7 years. Now, when I first started my hair growth journey, the first person I came across was Naturally High. Her hair at the time was down to her hips, and I was so encouraged by the fact that she had videos all the way from the start of her hair care journey, right when her hair was like yay high. And because of that, I was really encouraged because I was able to see exactly what she did at every stage of her hair journey. There weren't many other YouTubers or people on social media that had their full hair growth journey right from the start. And that's why I wanted to start this YouTube channel as well. So I don't only want to share the good of how I am growing my hair and how you can grow your hair as well, but I also want to share some of the bad, and this is a very challenging time for my hair. But I hope that you can use these videos as a learning curve, really, if you begin to experience the same thing as well. Looking back over my journey, I realized that as my hair got longer, of course, everything started to take longer. It took longer to detangle my hair and also longer to twist my hair. So I think because of that, I started to change my styling. So I was thinking that if I had bigger twists, then that would be quicker for me to do my hair and that would be helpful for me. So I started changing my styling from kind of mid-size twists, medium size, to maybe bigger twist, or sometimes it would be plaits, or sometimes I have even tried to put my hair in 2 cane rows, you know, like down the length of my hair like that. And that's part of how this all began, but let's go into it a little bit more. One of the biggest issues I have noticed is the fact that I was letting my hair dry out during styling. When I look back at Indigenous Strands videos, she wears a plastic cap while she's twisting her hair. And the reason she does that is because it helps to keep the moisture in her hair while she's styling it. Now, this is something that I used to do all of the time when I was twisting my hair, and I believe you'll be able to see in some of my videos. I didn't have a plastic cap at the time, but I just used to put a plastic bag on top of my head. And when I stopped doing that, my hair was probably drying out whilst I was styling it. And of course, then I was still manipulating it to detangle and to retwist it. And that meant I was causing breakage over time. Some of you commented on my last video in this kind of thinning series about the fact that you felt I was being rough with my hair, I was twisting it too tightly, or different things like that. And I want to say that that's not really correct. How I've been touching my hair in terms of how I've twisted it, how I detangle, hasn't changed over these 6 years. However, what has changed is the fact that I was starting to do it on drier hair. That is one of the main problems. But it still wasn't even the only issue. Another aspect to this is Indigenous Strands keeps her hair in specific partings. They are clean and they are retained. She doesn't undo or change her parts and then have to part them again. So even if she's wearing a twist out, those same sections are always still there. And that means that she's not constantly ripping through her hair, constantly parting it with a comb. But I stopped doing that because, as I said, I felt that my hair was taking so much longer to do. And so sometimes I wanted to make smaller partings, and I just kept changing my partings over time, changing it from medium-sized twist to big twist, or medium-sized twist to plaits, or medium-sized twist to trying to cane roll my hair. It was literally all going wrong because I was constantly changing the partings of my hair. Now, another aspect and one of the staples that was in my original routine was castor oil, specifically for me, Jamaican Black Castor Oil. I know my hair absolutely loved and soaked up this oil, but I became inconsistent with it because I ran out and I just hadn't got to the shop to get, a new bottle. And I really believe that the ends of my hair paid the price for me not purchasing that again. Part of the problem as well is that castor oil is really conditioning for the hair, and I wasn't also conditioning my hair. So because of the fact that I wasn't using conditioner and I wasn't using castor oil, those two things together was just a recipe for disaster, because what exactly is going to be protecting my ends if I'm not using castor oil and I'm not conditioning? So looking back, I was expecting healthy results from a incomplete routine. Another key big one, which I did talk about in the last video, is I got inconsistent with my use of flaxseed gel. I used to use this every single wash day without fail, and I would add more flaxseed gel to the ends of my hair during the week in between wash day, and I stopped doing that. And I truly believe that gel has helped hold the moisture in my hair and keep my hair smooth, specifically my ends, not just my hair in general. It really protects my ends during styling. And I think once I stopped using that regularly, I lost another part of that key system that really was working. Again, this is just one small change that it seems really minor, but I think all of these several changes that I've mentioned so far all together become quite a big problem. And so my hair wasn't thinning out just randomly. It was me slowly dismantling that exact system that gave me that healthy mid-back length hair in the first place. And by the way, if you want to try that exact system, I did create the 12-week hair growth accelerator to help you build a routine like the one that was working for me, so that you can retain length and get past your length plateau. So that's linked below for you. Now, here is another thing that I definitely messed up on. I am going back to doing pre-poos, and that will be with aloe vera juice and olive oil. I know that African Hair Guard says that pre-poo isn't really needed, but I realize that, of course, when he has his clients, he does condition their hair, whereas Indigenous Strands doesn't rely on any conditioners. So for her, pre-pooing really does make sense. And I believe similar for me, I don't really use conditioners too often, and certainly not deep conditioners. So I think it really does make sense to reintroduce pre-pooing back into my hair. So that'll be with aloe vera juice and also olive oil as well. But that's not it. There's literally more. Also, what I noticed is Indigenous Strands doesn't use hair bands. Now, for me, in my early days, even though I was using hairbands to tie my hair up, like going to work, I would still take them out every night, but I stopped doing that. I kept leaving them in and going to bed with my hair ties in my hair. And so I definitely am going to change that from now on. Also, in the first couple of years, whilst my hair was still really short and could barely fit into a hairband, I used to wear my hair in this style that's on the screen now, and I would just pin the two plaits behind my head. So I am going to actually start going back to that as well, because I saw a lot of length retained with pinning my hair up that way. You might be wondering how I came to notice and understand all of this. Well, it all started just yesterday when I decided that I wanted to cane roll my hair. I was literally going to do a full-on cane roll style. And I started at the back and everything was going okay at first because my hair was still moist. But as I got to around here and I was then trying to cane roll my hair, and also the front as well, I was trying to cane roll from the front right through to the back, I noticed as I was literally doing the cane roll or corn roll, I don't know how you say it depending on where you're from, my ends were tangling together and I kept having to pull them apart in order to continue doing the cane roll. And at first, the tangles weren't too bad and I could take out, strands slowly to begin to release that knot. But after a while, I noticed literally every movement I made in that cane roll, a new tangle created itself. And over time, I was like, this is part of the problem. So in the end, I undid that cane roll that I was trying to do. I didn't even get to the end because I couldn't finish it. I've still, right now, let me show you. Hopefully you can see that I've still got a few cane rolls at the back here and also on that side. Because my hair was dry, I didn't want to just undo them straight away and again cause the same problem. I decided to leave them in until wash day, but the rest of my hair, I just went back to putting them in twists. And now what I'm aiming to do is the twists I have put them in, these will now be my permanent parts. So what exactly am I changing from today? The first thing is I'm going back to doing this little mini pre-poo with spraying aloe vera juice and using olive oil on my hair. I'm then going back to washing my hair with African Black Soap shampoo, which is my little DIY. To be fair, I did bring that back 2 weeks ago, so I'm getting back on track slowly. Indigenous Strands, I know she used to use soapnut shampoo, and I am so annoyed because I found a brilliant soapnut and avocado shampoo bar that I loved, and I used it for about 2 years straight, and then it just randomly got discontinued. So vexed about that. But anyway, that's why I now have to create my African Black Soap shampoo. After shampooing my hair, I'll then be spraying aloe vera juice on it again. One thing I'm slightly disappointed about is the fact that I can't use aloe vera juice on its own. I do have to water it down, and that's because my spray bottle, no matter how many spray bottles I've tried, I cannot tell you the amount of spray bottles I've gone through. And every time I try to put aloe vera juice in there without watering it down or diluting it, it breaks the spray bottle and the mechanism no longer works. So if you've got a spray bottle that you can recommend that it allows, some of the bits to come through, please do let me know in the comments, because I am fed up of trying new spray bottles only for them to just give out on me. Another big one is I definitely will be using a plastic bag or a shower cap on my head to keep the moisture in whilst I'm styling. I'm going back to doing that. Then I will be undoing just one twist at a time only, redoing that twist. Kind of didn't change that too much, but I slightly did. I'll be applying castor oil consistently. I'll then be sealing my ends with flaxseed gel consistently, and also keeping my parts retained. I will not be changing my hair parts. Apart from the back where it's cane rolled, when I come to wash day, I am going to have to change it back to twists. And then lastly is no more hair bands. Right now my hair is pinned up with some pins. Of course, I know to be safe with the pins as well, so take that advice as well for yourself. One of the reasons I kind of ended up loosing my hair more often on wash day than just keeping it in its retained parts is because I did want to start thickening my hair, and I was using Curly Proverbs henna mask, like, you know, mixing that with deep conditioner. And I don't think there was anything wrong with doing that, but the problem was I can't really use that mixture on my twisted hair. My hair has to be loose, and so that was the problem. I was then loosing my hair quite often in order to then use that henna mixture with the deep conditioner. So I'm gonna have to forego that for now, but I do have a scalp oil that I've created, again a mixture from Curly Proverbs, and that does include some henna in it and some other Ayurvedic products as well. It is really frustrating for me because I know what worked. Do you know what I mean? I know what worked. It worked for me and it got me to where I got to. But I just got casual. So that's really, really annoying. My hair, when it got to mid-back length, was very, very healthy. And even though I managed to get it to waist length, but it was thin. And so, you know, as you know, I've trimmed off that now. I'd probably say about 2.5 inches. So it's really key for me now to just follow the routine that I know that I have proved to be true and just keep going with it. But there is another reason that people can follow routines and still struggle to retain length. And it often comes down to missing a few simple fundamentals. So watch the video that's on the screen right now and you'll be able to see a breakdown of these butt length naturals and how they have retained length.